Good morning. Welcome everyone today for our City of Keystone Heights special City Council meeting. I would ask that you please turn off your cell phones for this meeting today. Mr. Tasky, can you give us a roll call?
Mayor Rodenroth,
Here.
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Here.
Councilman Hart,
Here.
Councilman Lewandowski.
Here.
Madam Mayor, Councilman Brown is ill and not able to attend today.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comments?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. Today, we are going to conduct our live interviews with our applicants that have applied for the city clerk position. The process, well, first of all, let me introduce ourselves. I'm Mayor Rodenroth.
Christine Thompson.
Stephen Hart. Dan Lewandowski.
Thank you. I want to review a little bit about the interview process and how we will conduct with the questioning of each applicant. We do each have a form for each applicant, which we will conduct specific questions that will be handled by Mr. Tasky. And during those question and answer periods, we will rank those answers and tally them at the end of the interview. Also, after we have done our grading, we will total our score for each applicant at the end of that interview. And once all 4 applicants have interviewed today, we will take our form that we have ranked or graded according to their answers and responses. We will identify the top choice, second choice, and third choice and hand those to Ms. Ratasky for our recess later on when we will have a separate meeting for our selection process.
Madam Mayor, I just do have one request before we bring in the first applicant, is that in between each interview process, if we can have a short 5-minute recess, that way we can reset and make sure the next applicant does have, or interviewee does have a bottle of water and everything is working just fine with recordings and whatnot.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And if you're ready, I will bring in Ms. Desiree.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Ms. Desiree Durenberger.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, I'm saying good morning. It's actually, I've been feeling like it's morning all day. Welcome to the interview today. We appreciate you applying for the position and looking forward to the interview.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So we kind of did, do you know all of us? I think you do, right?
Most of you guys, yes.
Okay. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. My husband and I moved to Keystone about 11 years ago now. I live on Magnolia Avenue, right across from Miss Nina. I have several children in the school districts here. I have 3 over at the high school and 1 left in elementary. My kids are heavily involved in the sports in the community. My oldest son did the Boy Scouts several years ago, and my husband was a leader back for the Boy Scouts. I work at First Baptist Church. I'm currently their office administrator. I've been there for a year and a half. There I have done everything from printing bulletins to maintaining the church records. I do the payroll and all the church's finances, handling all purchasing, filing, scanning, and all of that for First Baptist. I was hired on under Daniel Finley, and I am now currently under Ryan McGue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're ready to start our question, Mr. Tasky.
Ms. Desiree, the council has compiled a list of questions. I will ask you each individual questions, that way they can focus on the answers and whatnot, but you'll be addressing them as council.
Yes.
So why do you want to work for the city of Keystone Heights?
I feel that working with the city of Keystone Heights would benefit me with the community. Being over at First Baptist, I'm trying to be more active. I help Ryan with several things outside of the community. And when I saw the position, I had kind of asked Nina about what it all entailed, and she sent me the link. And I feel that I would just kind of benefit the city and be an asset. I am very interpersonal. I love people. I love meeting new people. I'm organized. When I started at First Baptist, I don't know if you guys know, they had lost their secretary. And so they very quickly had to hire someone on. And when I took the office, it was in complete disarray. There was just files and files of paperwork all over. And the young woman that they hired on, she just was in over her head and said she didn't know how to file things. So I went and I had created a system and made notes so that if I was to ever leave, they could have somebody fulfill that position and step in easily. So I think, you know, my personal skills and just my organization, I do all of their licensing. So right now, if they need an inspection done, I'm the one who goes and I handle all of that and make sure that it's done on time and call and do work with a fire marshal, and I work with Proven One Security and do all of that.
Thank you.
Why the job of the city clerk specifically?
Well, it was a position that you guys had opened. I've checked several positions. I was looking at the administrative position. But being that I'm currently in an administrative position, which I do much more than administrative there, I felt the clerk position would be better instead for me.
Do you want to have a career in municipal service with increasing responsibilities and opportunities?
That's actually, so with my current position right now, there is no room for advancement. You're just kind of stuck doing the same thing day to day. And before becoming an administrative assistant, I was a stay-at-home mother, went for education, and then was decided after my kids had started back at school that education really wasn't what I wanted to do. My father worked for the city of Keystone Heights for 15 years. He was the city manager acting over there for 2 of those years, and then he transferred to the city of Stark for 2 years. And so I have talked to him, and he, kind of gave me some in and outs, and after talking with him, he was like, this is what I feel you'd be great at, and this would be a profession for myself. So yes, it was something that I would be interested in.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully here. With proper training and stuff, I feel that here, this would be a career move for me.
And explain to the council why they should hire you.
Just my personal skills. I know from being at First Baptist, having kids in the high school, going to soccer games, going to events that the church holds. I know tons of people in Keystone Heights. My husband knows several people in Keystone Heights as well. He works for Clerk. So we're just a very well-known family. And I do want to be more involved. Anytime you guys have an event in town, I try to make a presence and go there. I invite people, I share your posts. So I think that would be a really strong thing for me, is just my interpersonal skills and knowing people.
Have you had any formal training in computer programming such as Microsoft Office, QuickBooks, and/or Canva? Or has your training been on the job?
My training was on the job, so I learned everything all myself. And I use those daily, on a daily basis. Anytime checks are wrote, I'm the one who does those. I have to put them in QuickBooks. IRS documents, I do all of that for the church. So I have to make sure that I have account for all of those. And for a church, we can be audited very quickly. So I need to save receipts for any purchases that anybody buys in the church and keep record of those and enter those in the computer system as well. I use Canva because I am the one who does the church bulletin. I do the slides. Any of the Facebook posts, I manage all of that for First Baptist currently. Anytime we have an event, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the postcards that come out in the mail for First Baptist. I'm the one who creates those using Canva and mail those out. So a lot of those skills, yes, I do all of them on a daily basis, and they were self-taught by myself.
Do you enjoy working with the public?
Yes, I love working with the public. I love meeting new people. I love being in front of people. I love seeing the things that I have to offer to help people, and yes, I do love working with the public.
Are you willing and does your schedule allow for you to work long hours while putting on city events? Example is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on holidays such as the 4th of July.
Yes, I could be there for those events as my kids are older. And I do have a son that drives, so he would be able to stay with the younger when need be.
What knowledge of the city clerk position do you have for the city council to consider you?
Very little knowledge compared to just what I've seen on y'all's website for advertising, what you guys have for advertising for the position. But looking at what you guys had listed on the website and comparing it to the abilities that I have that I currently do on a daily basis with my current job, I feel that I can, with some slight training in the clerk position, that I feel that I could be very beneficial. I'm a very quick learner. Like I said, I've had to learn the ins and outs of my current job all by myself with very little training.
What experience do you have in planning large events?
Actually, quite a bit of experience. So all of the events that we have, I've scheduled our homecoming. I'm currently doing Christmas for the church, our services. We do softball events. We have a new pastor on that is very active in softball and baseball. And so all the events, I've had to plan that with Ryan and schedule with, we work with KHSA. I plan with this Keystone Heights High School. They come and do the events at our school, and I help plan that. I make sure that there's somebody there to lock up, and I send out all the media and all the flyers and make all the contact for that.
What is your experience in preparing and implementing a large budget?
I do that now.
What is the size of that budget? Can you elaborate?
Well, we have 500 members of First Baptist, and that's active members. We have about 200 members that attend services. So I handle all the finances. So if somebody ties, that money comes to First Baptist, and then we disperse 10%, goes to the Florida Baptist Convention, and they use that and see fit to plant new churches. And then the remainder of the budget, I pay insurance, the light bills, the water bills, all of that. Ryan and I have decided that CDs is a really big portion of what we should be doing right now at First Baptist, because we had money that was sitting in an account that wasn't being used. And for us, we felt that that money should be used somewhere. So Ryan and I have put several of the church's money into CDs and watching the interest grow. So I have kind of an eye to be able to look for that too. But there's thousands of dollars that I handle, more than thousands. There's about $500,000 that I see on a daily basis between all of our accounts.
When the city manager is absent, would you be willing to fill in for a short period of time?
With training, yes, I would feel that I could do that.
Do you have any relationships or friendships with current employees, elected officials of the city? If so, please elaborate.
As I said, Nina is my neighbor. She lives across the street. Tony Brown, I currently sort of kind of work with him. So he is a hired on staff at First Baptist. He is a janitorial staff. He comes on at night when I'm leaving, but I do write his check. So I do know Tony Brown from First Baptist.
How would you handle being asked by the city manager or a member of city council to do something you believe could be unlawful, unethical, or against city regulations?
I would not be able to handle that very well. I would speak out and state on my behalf that I feel that that is unlawful, because I know, being in a public eye, that I could be held accountable for that just as much as someone else coming to me and stating it to me.
And the second part to that question, and I know that it's difficult without understanding the processes and procedures, but how would you handle such a request? What would be your process of rectifying that?
I would probably see if they could hold a meeting, and get y'all's position on what and how that should be handled. I know if somebody came to me in my current position and asked me to do something unlawful, we kind of have a similar position. We have a board, which is our leaders. So if there was an issue, I would have to go to those leaders and get their opinion on things. So I would kind of handle that in a similar position here.
Perfect. Thank you. Would you, as a condition of employment, participate in some type of education or training that would directly assist you in your duties while in the position of city clerk, such as one offered by the Florida Association of City Clerks?
Yes.
All right, now the fun questions. During your employment at O2B Kids College, describe your style of leadership as a supervisor of 20 employees.
I'm a very active supervisor, so I would frequently ask if anybody had any questions. If somebody needed training, I would go and help train them. There were several times that I would step in and fill in. If I knew a teacher was going to be absent that day, I would step into that classroom. So I was very heavily involved. Parents knew me, they loved me. I make sure that I know everybody in our congregation. Like I said, our numbers are averaging 200 right now. I probably know 185 of those by name because they're regular people that I deal with. And I'm trying to learn everybody's name, but at ODB, that was my biggest thing is knowing everybody, filling in when needed, making sure that if somebody needed help, they knew they could talk to me and ask me for help.
In regards to multitasking role as an administrative assistant at First Baptist Church, describe a typical day and how you resolve the challenges.
I know the ins and outs of my job, so right now there's no real challenges for me. When I had first started, it was very challenging. So they hired me in March, and the pastor that hired me on left in July. So I was left by myself to run the congregation. Granted, our numbers were significantly lower. We averaged about 75 to 85 when that pastor had left. But all of his duties were thrown on me, and I was a new hire, and I was still learning my duties. But I persevered, I learned. If I needed help, I would Google things and ask questions. And so now I know the ins and outs of my job. And if I do have questions, there are, like I said, there's a board above me, and I can go and I can ask them questions, which that's very irregular.
How would you handle citizen complaints?
Kind of like I do church complaints. So being with a church, there are several complaints. Music's too loud, they can't read the print in the bulletin, they couldn't hear the pastor, oh, they couldn't read the print on my slides, oh, we shouldn't be airing this on Facebook. So I get that now. And I've learned that you can't please everyone. And I've also learned that not everyone is gonna like the decision you make, but that is what they vote you guys on, in my opinion. And to vote you on, they had to think that you have the skills and the know-how. So if somebody was to complain, I would kind of lovingly tell them this is the reason that they are handling it, or this is the reason they are doing it this way. And suggest that maybe if they didn't like it the way it was being handled, to come to the meetings that you guys have on a regular basis and be more active.
Now it is your turn to ask any questions that you may have of council.
Okay. The big thing is hours. I was wondering what the hours would be. Is it like a Monday through Friday? I know it didn't state that on the website when I had looked. And what all, if I had a child that was sick, currently I'm able to leave and go pick up that child, which that takes 2 seconds. Would I still be able to do that here type of thing?
The hours are what, 8 to 4:30, right? Or,
That's a
So-
hard question.
that's a hard question
So-
to answer. Because you don't like punch a
May
clock.
I answer?
Please, yes, please do, Ms. Rachowski, by all means.
So office hours are 8:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. It is expected that you're in here by 8 o'clock and that you're here through the office hours until 4. However, there's various meetings that will be attended all over the county. Tourism meetings, Clay County Board of County Commissioners, things of that nature that you will be expected to participate in. So your hours are going to fluctuate. Contractually, you'll be required to maintain a 40-hour work week. Sometimes that extends into a lot longer than 40 hours. When there's events that will be handled, it is expected that city staff, public works, city manager, and city clerk are participating, and it is hands on deck. So it is very much a working position when it comes to that.
Okay.
Meetings do run into the evening times. We have council meetings on a monthly basis, and those start at 5:30 or 6 o'clock if there's a CRA. And sometimes there's been times where we haven't gotten out of here until close to 9 with some of our public hearings.
Okay.
And so the hours will fluctuate.
Okay.
Generally speaking, it's an 8 to 4, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 40-hour work week. Everybody has kids. Council understands. They've been very gracious with myself as a single mother raising kids, understanding, but there's fluctuation. You will have sick leave and vacation time.
Okay.
But it really depends on the day and what meetings that should be handled, if there's anything.
We also use comp time, right?
For the most part, yes. Now, there's specific job requirements, such as city events, that have been specific to the role. That's just a part of the job. And those are some of the conversations that council can have within.
And that's why it's a salaried position
Yes, it's a
and not an
salaried position.
hourly position.
Yes.
And that's currently what I am right now. I'm salaried with the church. So my shift right now is from 8 o'clock until 5. They give me 30 minutes, because I had started when my kids were, most of them were still in elementary, to be able to leave and go pick up those kids and then come back. That was kind of my lunch break type of thing. But anytime I have sick leave, like I work 32 hours salary. If one of my kids is sick, literally takes me 2 seconds, which would be the one in elementary. The high school, they can kind of do for themselves. But it's not like a frequent thing, so that's
Right.
why I was just kind of wondering if, hey, can I take 5 minutes to go pick up my kid and drop him off at home? If needed. So, benefits, healthcare, all of that.
So the city does have a 401k. It's a 5% into your 401k. We do not participate in Florida retirement. There is a 100% coverage for the employee, and then 0% coverage for the family plan. So that will be considered responsibility of each individual employee. Benefits, PTO, so you accrue sick leave and you do accrue vacation. And then that's on a set scale to where if you're here in 0 to 5 years is 2 weeks, I believe 5 to 10 years is 3 weeks, and then above 10 years is an additional week.
Okay.
Are there any other questions that you have?
That was all the questions.
Council, are there any questions or anything that you would like to?
Do you guys have any
I
additional?
have no questions. I just appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, I'm glad you guys called.
Ms. Thompson? No? Mr. Lewandowski?
You asked about benefits. I believe the state has 10 or 11 paid holidays per year. The city is more generous.
So there are 13 paid holidays that are
Yeah.
And then one of those is a floating holiday that you can take off for your anniversary or birthday, or however you see fit.
And I will echo Councilman Hart and the other council members here. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for applying to the job.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So now, we're going to take about a
5 minutes, right?
5-minute recess?
35.
35-minute.
Well,
Yeah.
Next
we'll
interview is scheduled at 2.
Right, we'll see if the other lady is available early, I guess, the next person. But
No,
otherwise,
I will say that some of these are working individuals that
Mhm.
had to take time off, and so they're in
that's fine.
their.
They're in for their time.
I'm gonna go get lunch then.
Yeah. Right. But so at this time, what you want to do is tally up your score, so you have it at the bottom of the sheet